Referee, Mr. Dave Harris, with his final instructions. 12 3-minute rounds.
I spoke to you both in the dressing room, boys. You know what I expect of you. Punch with an upper part of the glove. If one of you goes down, the other go to the further suit your corner. Break when I tell you to. Defend yourself at all times. Shake hands, boys. Good luck to you both.
Well, Simpson, the Scottish fighter, he's back in the ring after losing a points decision, a British title fight, that against Andy Morris. And that's his only defeat in his last 14 contests. Foster has never been beaten, but he had that slightly questionable draw in his last contest against Buster Dennis. He admitted to me when I spoke to him earlier this week, my head just wasn't right that night. They also found that he got a dust allergy, which they've now sorted out, and he reckons that he is ready to make a fresh start. Foster, 25 years old in the red shorts. John Simpson, 3 years his junior. And if Foster fights as he did against Dennis, there's no question about it, he's going to have real problems tonight. But I was talking just a few moments ago to Andy Morris, the British champion, another Manchester fighter, and he said in his opinion, he says it's going to be close, but Foster, he thinks, will just have the superior punching power, and that could be key.
Well, that's interesting, you know, Morris is an exceptional fighter in my opinion at least. But back down to business now with Stevie Foster Jr. He has to be at his utmost best tonight, because if he's not, you know, this kid's going to give him all the problems that he could want. You know, I've seen Simpson fight. He's game, he's busy, and he's a fit boy. So, you know, this makes for an interesting fight.
Well, Simpson, taller man, and you can see he's got a reach advantage, and Foster found it very, very difficult to make the weight. 3 visits to the scales, had to strip naked in the end at the weigh-in order to get there, and he has found it tough, very tough, to lose those last 2 or 3 pounds to get down to the 9-stone featherweight limit. And Simpson just looks as though he started perhaps a little bit better here. I'm not sure, it's not too much to choose between them in the opening stages, but Simpson is managing to land with that left-hand lead.
Well, yeah, as you said, John, there's nothing in it, but you know, Foster's a nice compact boxer, just a little bit upright, but he's compact nonetheless.
Simpson, who took up boxing at the age of 15, said he was inspired to do so by watching his hero in the ring, Nazim Hamed. Neat sort of stylist. And Foster recognises that. He says that he is a good boxer, Simpson, and that could help bring out the best in him. Good shots, good work from Simpson. Brought the left hand up well.
Yeah, it's a very even first round. But, you know, if Foster is tight of the weight, it will tell as the fight goes on into the later rounds.
His last couple of contests have been nominally made at the featherweight limits, non-title contest. This is actually his first defence, but he's come into those fights at more than 9 stone. This time, of course, championship fight, defending the title he won in February last year against Livingston Ruiz, and that's a good body shot from Simpson. And I think the Scot might just have done enough here. Judges, of course, officiating at ringside, 3 of them if it goes the distance. In the Foster corner, Maurice Corr just trying to get a little bit more urgency out of his man, trying to get him to force the pace a bit better than he has done. Simpson, I reckon he just started the better there, Duke. Could you split them? I think Simpson just edged it.
Well, I've given the round even, John, simply because, you know, the champion was given as good as he got. You know, obviously the challenger was pushing the fight, but I've given it even. I don't really like to fence it, but, you know, we just got to go with what I see.
Foster against Buster Dennis, that was an 8-rounder. He clearly, for me, struggled to stay the pace. Dennis is a gritty sort of competitor. He's somebody who can be a handful for anybody on his day. But Foster will know that he wasn't right that night, and he's just clipped again by another left hand. And Simpson has made a nice, confident start.
Well, Foster's, as I said before, he's compact, and he wants to take this fight on the inside at close quarters. Now, that might play into Simpson's hands. because that's where he also likes it. He's a nice snappy boxer, he's got a good jab. And I saw his fight against Andy Morrison, gave a brilliant account of himself.
Yeah, he did well. And he's a fit boy, as we've said. He likes to pride himself on that, and he says that nobody trains harder than he does. And if he's going in there with that sort of confidence, you know, he knows that he can go down the stretch. And Foster has never had to go the 12-round distance, and Simpson has done that.
You know, if Simpson pushes Foster hard and Foster is tight at the weight, you know, it's going to tell on him.
Foster's just, for me, having a little bit of difficulty getting into a groove, but he was, you can say he was much the same when he fought Ruiz. I remember when he won the title, it was a while before he caught up with him and fired in those trademark hooks. It's the left hook which is his damaging shot. That's where he's looking to fire, try and tee himself off. But of course the corner will be saying, you know, take your time, box your way in.
Well, there's more urgency from Foster in this round. Just trying to inject a bit of snap into his punches. You know, just flicking them out, trying to get the combinations working. But what you see is Simpson matching him right down the stretch. Every time Foster hits him, Simpson comes back with 2 or 3 shots.
I just think that Foster, for me, is being... OK, that's better. That's at last a little flurry from Foster, but by and large, so far, he's just been slow to establish authority. He's been outworked a little, and that's a good flurry of punches again from Simpson. That's better from Foster, and a buzz of acclaim from a fair number of Manchester fans who've made their way down into the East End of London. Body shot again from Simpson.
Well, Simpson knows that Foster's tight at the weight, and that's why he's slamming the left hooks down to the body early.
Trying to sap the stamina. John Simpson, the challenger for this title. The Scot has made a bright start. Danny Lee Jr., his trainer in that corner. Third round, potentially of 12.
Yeah, well, Simpson finished the round stronger, I thought, than Foster. Foster's really got to, you know, just start to get to grips with this one. He's a nice, snappy boxer, and as we said before, John, favours the left hook.
That's another good body shot from Simpson. Dead right with that, Duke. It's clearly a pre-arranged strategy. They'll know that he's been tight at the weights. Foster, as they like to say, that he's struggled to boil down to that 9-stone limit, and they are going looking for the body. That's one they'll have been working out, I'm sure. Left hook's a quality shot from Simpson.
Nice right hand there over the top, though, by Foster.
That's a better punch.
Yeah.
Starting to warm up nicely, this one, Duke.
It certainly is. Well, you'd expect Foster to have the champion's heart and, you know, really start trying to push this one, stamp his authority. Boxing better now, he's forcing the fight.
Needs the greater sense of urgency. He's going to have to dig deep, I'm sure, in this one. It's going to be about stamina and about work rate. Simpson, only the 3 stoppage wins in his 13 victories. Foster, we know from the record, but also on the evidence of what we've seen, that he is perhaps the more concussive puncher. But Simpson is fit, he'll stay the distance, and he'll try and outwork Foster.
Yeah, Foster likes to be nice and close. Lovely hook there by Foster. That was a smashing left hook, landing flush on the jaw of Simpson. It's a better round for the champion, this one.
Good flurry of punches to the body this time from Foster. And he's settled down to his work so much better here in the third. Maybe some early fight nerves. Bit of tension getting in those early stages, those early exchanges, and now he's starting to warm to his task. That's a good shot from Simpson, good left hand into the body.
Well, both boxers realise what's at stake, and obviously for the winner, you know, there's bigger fights out there. It's a better round for the champion, though.
Yeah, this is a much better round for Foster. I know you gave the first round even, Duke. Second one, unquestionably, I think, went to Simpson. And Foster's come back stronger now, though. And he's fighting at his pace. He's forcing Simpson to give ground. The champion, Stephen Foster, has a tendency to mark up, and Dean Powell, his cutsman, has been working away at a slight blemish around the right eye. I don't think it's a cut, I think he's just trying to control a bit of grazing and swelling just above that right eye. Better round though for Foster, that, Duke.
Yeah, it certainly was, and Foster starting this round with real urgency and purpose behind his punches. You know, he's very flat-footed, so that means he can get a lot of power on the shots. That was unintentional of Simpson. But since the referee reading the right eye to Foster.
Well, I have to say I like to see that. I mean, Dave Parris is a really good, strong, authoritative referee. He won't take nonsense in a fight. He establishes himself as well as the fighters. You know, he lets them know who's in charge, and he was very, very clear in his instructions there.
Yeah, obviously he's got to be in control of this one because it's going to hot up nicely.
Showing all indications of turning out to be a very tasty little scrap indeed, this one. Mentioned the fact that it was a trade fight. There's a slew of the old fight figures who turned up here. Saw Lloyd Honeyghan, one of our great British champions of years gone by, in a rather splendid black and white hat and dark glasses, standing somewhere in the shadows at the back of the auditorium. Danny Williams, we know, at ringside. You've got Matt Skelton, the big man, former British champion. He's going to be in action a bit later on, around about 11 o'clock, we reckon.
Des Morrison is here also, John. He's a former British light welterweight champion.
Saw Mickey Cantwell.
There you go. They've all turned out.
He was a good little fighter. Fourth round of 12. Of course, if it goes the distance, could be a bit later. That's his body shot now. The referee's saying it was low, and he's giving Foster a bit of time. It didn't look very low. It's going to be interesting to see that one again. But now, that tells me if that was only borderline and it went in low and created that sort of reaction, Simpson, not a noted big puncher, that you do just wonder whether Foster is struggling at the weight. Another right hand did go in low there on the blind side of the referee. Simpson trying to supplement Foster with the body attack.
Well, you know, even if he's not struggling at the weight, the body shots still hurt.
Sure.
So it's a good sort of ploy for Simpson to put in this early. You know, if he can sustain it, obviously to the later rounds it will take its effect, but you know, nobody wants to give anything in this round.
Close round again, Duke.
Yeah, very close.
Last few seconds could be key. Fighters know that. They like to create the grandstand finish. Couple of good body shots from Simpson. Simpson, the taller man in the white shorts. That's a left hand. That was definitely low. Foster felt that one. And again, and now he returns fire with fire and puts in a low on himself. This is turning out to be a real bruising encounter. Big left hand from Simpson in the closing seconds. Good round, difficult one to score. It's rounds like this which can determine it. Well, the low blow which John Simpson may or may not have thrown. Let's have a look again. Oh, it was low.
Yeah, low. Unintentionally, but a low blow nonetheless.
I've still got the Scot just edging this one, Duke.
Yep, I have also, John, just edging it. But, you know, you can be assured that Foster isn't going to take this one easily.
He's got to step up his work rate. And like that, he's got to force Simpson to give ground. Foster's been 10 rounds on a couple of occasions, but he says he's ready. He says he's trained for 12 rounds, and if it goes that far, then no problem.
Well, you know, if you can do 10, you can do 12. That's how it goes in your mindset of a fighter. You know, Foster won't be worrying about the extra 2 rounds. He needs to fight at a harder pace than what he's actually showing right now. He's got to get on top of Simpson. He's got to start pushing him back, get him on the back foot.
They nearly fought a year or 2 ago on a Barry Hearn, Tommy Gilmore promotion. That one fell through. And this fight has been sort of on the back burner for a while. Don't like the way, from a Foster point of view, every time those body shots go through, you can visibly see him wince. Simpson, I think, is, well, it's so difficult to score. That's a good right hand from Foster, but Simpson is having definitely having an effect with those body shots.
Well, you know, as I said earlier, John, who likes a body shot? They cripple you and they make you punch, or you can get punched to a standstill. So, you know, but Foster's got to meet fire with fire. He can't allow Simpson this kind of leverage to get in his punches.
Foster trying to stalk his man down, trying to take his ground and get into his face, trying to make it his fight. That's a good shot. That's better from Foster. And a good right hand this time as well, although maybe another low one. Dave Parris telling Foster off for dragging his man down. Right over the top from Foster again. It's only a glancing blow, but not too far away from what could have been a damaging shot.
You know, these guys are really evenly matched. They really are, because there's nothing in it.
It's what they call a trade fight, isn't it? It's one which they're looking forward to in the boxing game. That's better work from Foster. It's his best attack so far. Flurry of punches, finishing with the left to the face, and another good solid right hand as well from Foster.
But he cracked in a beautiful right hand before the flurry. That's what set the flurry up. That's what set the combinations together. You know, if he can hit the target, he'll get his confidence.
Few gasps and oohs from the crowd. And Foster, after some rocky moments, is he now stepping up the pace? There's kind of a procession line of fighters in Manchester. Maurice Corr, like Steve Foster Sr., was a product of Phil Martin's gym, and now Steve Foster Jr. being trained by Maurice Corr. Phil Martin no longer with us, sadly. One of the great figures of Manchester boxing, did so much for the Moss Side community up here.
Absolutely, you know, his gym was the Champs Camp.
And it was an area, wasn't it, which was caught up so badly in the riots back in the 80s, and you know, sort of the improved harmony of that community. It came for a number of reasons, but it also came through the work of Phil Martin.
Absolutely, and you know, should be commended for that alone.
And this is a good scrap. I gave Foster that last round, Duke. Don't know if you'd agree with that. He's narrowed the gap on my card.
Yeah, I would, Johnny. It was a good round by him. Nice combinations. Got some nice body shots in also. There's just more urgency again by the champion in this round. He's starting this round as he finished the last one.
He's starting to perhaps wear Simpson down a little.
Well, he's just outworking Simpson at the moment. He's just outworking him. Ever so slightly, sorry John, just ever so slightly.
Doubling up nicely on the jab as he worked his way in there, and again doubling up on the 2 left hooks. Well, a little word from Dave Parris, the referee, principally aimed at Steve Foster, just asking him to smarten up his act. That's what you like to see, as I said earlier, from a referee. You like to see him ensuring that the spectators get what they've paid to see. They don't want to see fouls, they want to see proper boxing.
Foster throws his combinations and then he ended up smothering his work. He kind of leans on with his left shoulder and he smothers his work where he can't do any more work on the inside. So perhaps after throwing his combos, just take a little step back, invite Simpson in, and then he can go to work again with short arm punches, uppercuts and hooks.
Good body shot inside this time from Foster. Had Simpson getting the early advantage, and it was principally through the body attacks that he was doing so. But Foster's got a spring in his step now, almost as though he's starting to grow in his own belief that he's not going to be allowing himself to produce the same sort of tepid performance that he did against Dennis, that contest that he had before Christmas. Good body shot again. Buzz of acclaim, really knowledgeable crowd here. They know their boxing so well.
Absolutely, but you know, John, styles make fights, and obviously Dennis on that night just seemed to nullify a lot of what Foster was doing, but you know, this guy's come to fight.
And he's probably a more heavy-handed fighter than Simpson. That's the end of the 6th round. You can see that bit of damage around the right eye there of Foster that we were talking about earlier on. It's nothing serious. Dean Powell, who acts as matchmaker for the Sports Network series of fights, Frank Warren's fights, working in that corner as the cuts man.
Breathe, deep breath. That's it, deep.
Take a look at the scores as we see it at ringside, or as rather as Duke sees it at this stage. There you go. Duke's got Foster now just edging it for what it's worth, which is probably not a lot. I've got it dead level.
Well, for me, Foster, just those last 2 rounds were just the turning point in the fight. He's just gone to just a slightly higher level in terms of work rate.
He's waiting for you to come, and he's going to throw shots, and then he's going to move. Step back, right and left hook, okay? Okay, step back with it. Let me see them simple shots. Get behind that jab.
Come on, go.
Round 7.
So now into the second half of the contest. And it's absolutely in the melting pot, even at this stage. Foster perhaps just starting to come on stronger. Foster in the red shorts.
Well, Simpson's stalking him okay, but he's not doing anything.
No, he's not throwing that left hook to the effect, particularly the left hook that he was throwing so well earlier on. He's been beaten to the punch as well.
Well, he's in danger of letting this round slip away if he doesn't start, you know, getting busy, start working them hands. You know, Foster's looking busy doing nothing.
He's throwing single shots now, Simpson, isn't he? He's not doubling up as well as he was earlier.
Yeah. As I said before, you know, Foster's looking busy. He's not doing too much, but he's looking busy while he does it. So, you know, that's going to catch the judge's eyes. Gone into counter-puncher mode now as Foster. And it would appear to be working.
Yeah, letting Simpson come to him. We heard Maurice Corr between rounds saying, you know, let him come and then pick him off with the jab and throw in the hooks. Better from Simpson.
Yeah, but he needs more of that now, John. You know, if the champion's going to deliberately go back there, he needs to track him. You know, work behind the jab, track him down, put the combinations together, and then just show a little bit of lateral movement.
Foster, who holds the WBU version of the title. I suppose you could say one of the more junior belts in boxing. WBO Featherweight champion Scott Harrison, he's going to be in action next month over in Belfast at the atmospheric King's Hall.
Foster's landed the right hand several times in this fight, and he just did there again in this round. I'm surprised he hasn't adopted that tactic even more. Got him behind a double jab and a straight right. Fight getting just a little bit untidy now, where both boxers are obviously a little bit tired, but they both chose to fight this fight at close quarters.
Well, Dave Paris clearly said break there. Two fighters chose to ignore it.
Yeah, but there's a lump, John, just over Foster's eye there, over the right eye.
That's the one they've been working on, but it appears to be getting a little bit worse. He does mark up, though, that's not unusual.
Right, step back!
But Simpson, who prides himself so much on his fitness, well, that's going to tell now, because he needs to turn the tide. Foster, although it's getting untidy, although it's a bit messy, you just get the feeling that Foster's work is maybe the more emphatic, that he's just doing the more. I gave him that round, Duke.
Yep, me too.
He's just starting to edge ahead, perhaps. See what they're saying in the corner.
All right, don't wait to do that. Don't want him getting any more confident what he is, okay? Lean back, breathe, deep breath. Yeah.
You gave him the round back now, come on.
Urging him to
You gotta get them
not
shots off,
allow
I'm
his
telling you.
opponent
When
to
you throw that
grow
right
in
hand,
confidence. He
sharp.
threw some good shots. He
Sharp
threw a
straight.
good telling
Left
right
hook to the
hand
head,
in that
okay?
round. And let's see it again, Duke. Here it is. Bang.
Yep, a big sweeping right hand right round the houses. Better shot from the champion. As I said before, needs to just adopt it even more.
Keep
And
going.
here's the Simpson corner with
Keep on.
Danny Lee Jr.
Don't let him, son. Don't let him in again, right? Give him a way to fight, okay? Good boy, come on, son.
Eighth round, it's a 12-round fight.
Simpson would appear to have switched off just a little bit mentally because his work rate's dropped. So if Simpson takes a step back as Foster starts leaning on and then tries the uppercut, he's going to land because all of Foster's body weight is on his front foot when he leans in.
Well, let's see if he can do it. He's got to do something now to turn the tide, as I said before, because Foster is the busier. And that's what will be catching the judge's eye. You know, I mean, it's quality shots, I know as well, but so often judges are swayed by aggression and just by the general feeling of how a round is going, and you just get the sense that Foster now is forcing the fight and making it his fight.
Yeah, well, he's actually upped his work rate. You know, he knows he's had a couple of good rounds, so that's done a lot for his mental state of mind. So that allows him to up his work rate.
We get a different perspective of this between rounds here from Barry McGuigan. See if he agrees with the way we're reading it, but again in that close exchange, Foster was just the boss, but now back comes Simpson, turning his man adeptly and firing in a couple of purposeful, meaty-looking body shots.
Yeah, that was a crack in my hand Foster landed in that last exchange. It was really good.
It's getting a bit wild in there now. And again, it's Foster who gets the ticking off from the referee. How did you view that one, Duke?
Well, that was 6 and 1, half a dozen of the other, John. They're both as guilty as each other.
Oh, that's right.
When I tell you stop boxing, you'll both be out. You understand? You sure?
When I say stop boxing, don't do that again.
Yeah, they was as guilty as one another.
Difficult to take a point away, though, isn't it, when they're both at it? So in the end, you give the admonishment. There's another word for it, but I won't use it.
It's another good round by Foster. Simpson just letting this one slip away yet again.
Closing stages of the 8th. Britain Foster's won this one.
Yep, I'll give him this round again, John.
I've got him 5 rounds to 3 ahead now, Foster. Closing stages here. Duke, I know, has got it a bit even a bit more emphatically for Foster. It's a good body shot from Simpson. Again, just the single shot. But messy. Holding and mauling. Perhaps not quite unfolded in quite the fashion that some of us had expected, but Foster, I think, is just edging it. Duke's got it that way. Let's hear on his impressions of the fight so far from Barry. Barry, what do you make of it?
Yeah, John, I agree. I think Foster is now slowly creeping ahead. The problem is that Simpson is allowing him to fight at close range. Foster is better at close range. He's fighting much better on the inside. He's accused of some of those little shoulders and digging and dropping the head every now and again. Simpson needs to get the fight at long range, throw fast, accurate punches, keep the tempo high, because I have him 4 rounds down at this stage. He's got to get on. He's got to get his work done, get in, get his work done, and get back out again. Foster, on the other hand, has got to keep closing the distance, keep the fight at short range.
4 rounds down. Barry has it even more clearly than we do. And in that corner, working away again on the damaged right eye of Stephen Foster. Only bruising, though, really, nothing too serious. And they're urging Simpson in the other corner to give it more, to step it up, to move on to a different level, to dig in there.
Well, as I said before, you know, Simpson's letting this one creep away. It's just allowing Foster just to outwork him.
Now a bit of loose binding on the glove. Nothing which the referee can't sort out for himself, though, so not much of a pause in the action.
But this is how the champion will like it, just being able to dictate the pace. You know, he's boxing nice and snappy in little spurts. Then when he gets in close, he throws snappy little combinations, and then he just, you know, he can fight in the counter punch mode also. So he's actually fighting this fight in 3 different styles.
Good solid right hand from Simpson, though. Again, just a single punch, single shot.
The champion's being quite versatile in his approach. You know, he's working head and body, and every now and again you get that where he just pull him in, tie him up, you know, by valuable seconds.
What do you reckon of Foster's fitness here? He said that he feels better than he has done for a while. He's worked more with weights. He says that that seems to be a sort of an in vogue thing at the moment. I know that Billy Graham, another Manchester trainer, favours that sort of thing, and Foster says that he's been working more with weights than he did with Oliver Harrison, and as a result of that he just feels more comfortable, he feels stronger. It's given him a greater sense of confidence.
Well, yeah, and that's all it does. You know, the weights aren't going to help his strength. The weights aren't going to make him punch any harder. And the more he works with the weights, then obviously that will end up slowing him down, because, you know, muscle weighs more than fat. So right now he's doing it purely from the mental perspective.
I think Muhammad Ali and Sugar Ray Robinson used to do too many weights, did they?
Absolutely not. But, you know, if it helps him, and obviously it's working, you know, to this point, where it's helping his confidence.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mental thing, isn't it? And he looks like that's not a legal knockdown. It's a mental thing, isn't it? And he's grown in confidence visibly as this fight has gone on, as Foster. And he looks a different man to the guy who we saw at the Excel Arena back in December. Good work, good 1-2. Left, showed him the left hand and then the straight right hand following up. Good work from Foster.
Yeah, cracking shot. You genuinely find fighters only use weights when they're moving up through weight divisions, you know, to try and build themselves up a little bit. But obviously whatever Foster's doing at the moment, it's working for him.
You can see from his whole demeanour there how much more he's starting to fancy this now. Look at him up on his toes and feinting to throw little shots and then delivering them with so much more telling effect than he was earlier on. Well, that's another round for Foster for me. I think this is really slipping away from Simpson. Sometimes get these things wrong, but I think that Foster is now firmly in control.
More of that, Steve, okay? All right? If you're relaxing there, all right? Just let you be relaxing there. Get your shots off first, okay?
See some of the good work that he produced in that round. There's the jab and the right hand. That was the 1-2 which drew our applause.
Yeah, he just set it up quite nicely there. Just sort of feinted with the jab, come in with the right head and dropped in the head also after that.
Okay, deep breath now, okay? All right, listen. When you get them punches, you gotta let them go inside, okay? If you don't stand there, don't let
me right out, left out as well.
Okay, if he keeps holding it, that's fine, you know what I mean?
Well, just pull it out and lift one up if he does that.
You should referee.
You see the concentration and the enthusiasm back in the face of Steve Foster. And it's not Oliver Harrison, you know, I mean, it's not a criticism of him. It's sometimes, though, just that fighters need the change. And I know that when Foster went to speak to him about it, you know, I mean, Oliver, who's one of the good guys of the game, he said, well, yeah, you know, if that's the way you really feel, then you've got to make that decision about your career.
Well, you know, whatever makes you happy, you know, obviously, because the fighter, his happiness is imperative, and you know, this isn't the same fighter that boxed in his last fight where he looked lacklustre and unmotivated. He does look rejuvenated, obviously, and he won't want to let his new trainer down. More importantly, he won't want to let himself down.
Another lovely little 1-2 that Foster fired in, then showed him the left hand and then followed up with a straight right, and he's picking his punches better now, and you can see that he's starting to bubble with a lot more confidence. And a little shake of the head from Simpson, who's getting disheartened. I don't know if that was designed to catch the eye of the referee, to say that it wasn't a fair tactic that Foster was using as he was getting in close, or whether it was perhaps just a little glance to his corner to say, I know this is slipping away and I can't just do what you're telling me to do. He's been beaten to the punch. Foster's showing the greater urgency, the greater variety.
Yeah, it's a nice jab, nice little 1-2s by the champion now. Growing in confidence by the second, put these punches together really well. Simpson, for whatever reason, stepped off the gas several rounds ago and hasn't managed to get back in the fight. You know, he's like a substitute watching a football match. You know, on the sidelines, he needs to get back up and get in the game.
Well, some fans, you know, armchair and those who pay the money to actually come along to the fights, they like to see the flashy knockouts and the huge punches. Well, we've not seen that, but this has been a good technical matchup. Interesting clash of styles. And Foster, for me, has done a pretty good job tonight. Good right hand.
Well, he seems to be proving to Simpson right now just why he is the champion. It's about being able to go to that extra level.
Yeah, he's bossing it now, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, it's about going to that extra level when you need to do it, when you have to dig deep and suck it up and find a different strategy to win the fight. He's done just that.
Simpson has to do something big now. He's trying to bully Foster around the ring, swinging him round there. But he's not landing anything like the number of telling punches and combinations that he did in the first 2 or 3 rounds, first 4 rounds maybe, when he was at his most effective. I've not had him winning a round since the 4th, Duke.
Well, and also, John, you can see there's a real urgency about Foster. There is a spring in his step, as you so rightly said earlier on. You know, the hands are working, the feet are working. All of the tactics that he's actually employing for these rounds are working.
Well, that's the end of the 10th. Foster, who's never been beyond 10 rounds. As you said earlier, Duke, maybe that's not really a factor, you know, that he's gone. He knows that he's full of exuberance, of confidence, and Simpson has got to turn this round. Wonder what they're saying up there.
Right uppercut, left, do it. Okay. You need to move. You need fast feet, fast hands. Right, 2 rounds. Right, 2 rounds to go. Muscle you take, John. Come on.
Yeah, fast feet, fast hands. I think they know that it's slipping away. I mean, maybe it's closer than we're saying, but I can't for the life of me feel that Simpson is winning this fight.
Foster's winning the fight.
Yeah.
Foster's got this one in the bag, and obviously what Simpson needs is going to need a knockout probably, to win the fight.
At very least, he surely needs a very, very dominant last 2 rounds. Just 2 rounds remaining in this WBU Featherweight title fight here at the York Hall in Bethnal Green. Matt Skelton, the big punching heavyweight, coming up next. But Foster in the red shorts, at least the way we're seeing it, is looking as though he's moving on his way towards retaining his title. Inviting Simpson to come forward, and the Scots only too happy to oblige.
Well, this would have done so much for Foster's confidence. You know, he's beaten a good challenger. You know, he's beaten him in pretty much every department. So, that's why he's champion, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know quite what the future plans are for Foster, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if he wound up on the big Skelton-Williams rematch, which is being planned for July the 15th at the MEN Arena. Tickets already, I gather, are going well for that one, and not surprisingly, because that's going to be a cracker if it's anything like the first clash of the 2 titans of the heavyweight division in this country.
Yeah, that promises to be a real good fight. For Foster, there's always going to be another challenger out there.
Name of the game, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You know, you keep on and you hope you're going to keep getting the paydays, and it's the inevitability of the sport that sooner or later somebody's going to have your number.
Yeah. You know, there's always going to be another challenger out there, so he's going to have to keep raising his game, try and get himself into a position where he can perhaps get a fight at one of the major championships.
Simpson's bravely trying to come forward and trying to force the pace in this round. He's actually doing a little bit better in this 11th than he has done for several rounds prior to this. And again shakes his head a little bit disconsolately, as though the referee should be doing more to keep Foster's head up out of his chest. You didn't need to be a crystal ball gazer though, and he's getting a ticking off from the referee. Oh, he's going to take a point, I think. Yep, he's taking a point for use of the head. So Simpson gets his complaint in, and he gets the point docked by the referee. And Simpson will try and now win this round really emphatically, because if he can come on here and win big, maybe it could be a 10-8 round. Maybe.
Well, unlucky for Foster there, because you know, he kept sticking the nut in, and you know, the referee just won't stand for it. So obviously the point's been deducted, which hands Simpson the round.
He was always going to try and, he's always got to try and duck low and get in there though, Foster, because he's the shorter man, and clearly going to be to his advantage to actually work away inside and in close and deny Simpson the opportunity to get those long arms with the leverage and purchase which he was enjoying earlier on.
Yeah, absolutely, John.
Last few seconds of the 11th round. Now, how do you score this one? I think Simpson's going to have to have won the round. But is it going to be a 10-9, or is it a wider margin? I don't know. Well, that was a better round for Simpson, and Foster being docked the point. But is it a case of too little and too late?
Yeah, I think so. Because, you know, obviously we're going into the final round now, and as far as I'm concerned, the challenger needs a knockout for victory.
Okay, now listen. Okay, you got to throw these shots. Okay, listen. You got to throw these shots now, right? Like you never threw them before. Okay, these left hooks, you got to throw them. You can't
Morris
just
Core,
round, okay?
words of advice for Foster. But, well, we've got the scores now with Foster dominating it. He's the man in control. And Simpson surely now has got to find a knockout if he's going to turn this one around. Then you never know. How optimistic are they? Read the body language.
Catch him, back left, take over the top. Come on, Sam. Well.
Simpson gave a good account of himself when he fought Andy Morris for the British title back in November. But then Morris was just his boss. He was the man who took it, and is Foster, Stephen Foster Jr., doing the same thing here tonight? Final round.
Well, it would appear that Simpson's going to be, you know, found wanting yet again at championship level, unless he finds a knockout punch from somewhere.
Foster was a double ABA champion, fought in the World Championships in Belfast in 2001, then turned pro after that. A neat stylist. People perhaps expected a wee bit more than he's delivered in his professional career so far. But he won that WBU belt handily, beating Livingston Ruiz, and now in this defence against John Simpson, seems to have stepped up the level of his performance a bit again.
I'm sure there's better things to come from Foster.
It's only, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of big names in Manchester, aren't there? And Morris has done well. Think of Ricky Hatton, of course.
Absolutely, you know, well, you know, you took the words right out of my mouth.
Michael Gomez, you know, I mean, there's been a lot of guys who he's been contending with to get a share of the limelight.
Sure. But, you know, Andy Morris is obviously the obvious choice if he's successful tonight. What a fight that'll be.
Yeah, that'll be a goodie. Maybe that would be the one to shove on in July at the MEN Arena, maybe. Good work from Simpson. Those are good body shots, hurtful shots. And you take your hat off to him, actually, the way he's rallied over these last two rounds. If only he could have found it a little bit earlier.
Well, you know, he's a proverbial mile behind on points, John, so he would have had to have rallied hard. Obviously he wants to win the fight, but, you know, too little, too late.
we think, we should add.
Yeah. You can never say never.
Absolutely. You give yourself that little safety net.
Well, you know, he's just got to throw caution to the wind and just throw everything at Foster.
Well, last 30 seconds, and I think they'll try and go at it hammer and tongs. Foster, a few words to the referee and also to his opponent. He wants to be the man to produce the grandstand finish, and who's it going to be? Good work from Foster as he works his way out of that little clinch with a flurry of body shots. It's been a good fight, perhaps not quite materialised into the mini classic that some envisaged, but there you see the touch of mutual appreciation for the efforts given by both, and I think Foster knows it. He thinks he's won it, and I don't think surely there can be too much dispute on that one. But in the meantime, it's the referee who is collecting the cards from the judges, and they will now be tallied up at ringside, and these are the anxious moments for the boxers. But on our card, Duke, you know, I mean, Foster's got to have won it. He's won it by, what, 5 or 6 rounds?
Absolutely, John. I've got him well ahead.
Well ahead indeed. The margin, I suppose, is pretty immaterial. If it didn't go that way, well, I would be astonished, frankly. Simpson started well, but Foster, once he got into his rhythm, once he found his range, began to boss the fight, showed his strength, heavier punching power, greater variety, and in the end, just that little bit more ring savvy, a little bit more nous. And certainly he believes that he's done enough, congratulated by his man there, Maurice Corr, and maybe that's the start of a fruitful sort of relationship. Still waiting for the cards to be passed to our Master of Ceremonies, Michael Pass, and once he makes his way across to the other side of the ring, then we'll be able to get the verdict. It's coming up now, I think. Yep, let's find out what's happened.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a unanimous decision. Judge Larry O'Connell scores the contest 115 to 114. Judges Carl Rogers and Reg Thompson are in full agreement, 115 to 112. For the winner by unanimous decision, and still the WBU Featherweight Champion of the World from Salford, Stephen Foster Jr. Your appreciation, please, for a brave challenger indeed, John Simpson.
Well, there we are. As we saw it, Foster the winner. Some of the judges' scores a little bit more narrow than we had it. 115, 114 I find a bit baffling. 115, 112 closer to the mark. Looking at mine, I had it by what, 4, 5, 4, by a 4-round margin. I had it a little bit closer, but no question about it. Foster is still the champion. Simpson gave it a brave shot, wasn't quite enough in the end, and Stephen Foster gets win number 20 at the age of 25. He is still the WBU Featherweight champion and will move on to bigger tests.